So big result for the Lions, 0-48. Those players in this game made a big statement to say, no, we should be in the Test team when we thought the bulk of the Test team was in that Brumbies game. So this was a great result against, yes, a scratch side, but these are big names in the Southern Hemisphere from this AUNZ team, and for them not to score a point, they'll be embarrassed. Let's just say how it is. That was embarrassing because the Lions executed so well in attack and defence, and they had to do plenty of defending, and they soaked it up. They turned the ball over. Sure, the AUNZ, their shape wasn't that advanced. They made some mistakes, but still not to score a point. Nearly have 50 points scored against you. No, that's a big statement from these Lions players saying, no, we should be in the Test side, not the guys that played against the Brumbies. So love this one. Really, I think sets up this selection nicely. And I'll come back tomorrow with a big selection video saying what I would pick, what I think's going to be picked. And yeah, if you want to win £1,000, play my starting lineup, predict the correct 1 to 15 starting in that first test, and you either win a grand outright or you go into a small pot with others that got it right. So use RugbyAnalyst when you use the registration drop down. That'd be awesome. I'll talk more about that another time, I'm sure. But let's get into this team because a lot of these guys really stuck their hand up for sure, and this game was all about players trying to get into the Test team. Maybe if not the first test, the second test if something doesn't quite go right. So a lot of players on the up. The way I'm going to rank them is, did they put their chances up, the same, or down? As you expect from 0-48, a lot of good performances there. There was one person I think did go down, but let's go through it and let me know what you think. Starting with Pierre Schoeman, he had a big old game because he had to play the whole 80 minutes, which actually isn't a great sign for him for that first test, but he proved that he can go the full 80. Great fitness for a big prop. Good scrummaging, wins a penalty in the scrum right at the end on 77 minutes. So I thought he went really well and actually boosted his chances, even though he won't be happy he played the whole game because that doesn't bode well. Cowan-Dickie, I mean, he had probably done enough to dispel his line-out throwing concerns, no strong scrummaging, until he goes headfirst into a tackle, gets knocked out. Luckily, he's up and about afterwards, so, it's not serious injury, but certainly concussion because he was knocked out. So he's out of the first test, I'm certain, if not the second one. So by default, he has to go down. And that tackling technique, although, don't want to see anyone get hurt, I've commented before, it's pretty much a crazy head-first tackling technique, and it's really bit him here. And I expect we might see a call-up for Jamie George not to fly to USA with England, but to fly to Australia instead. Now, Will Stewart, I thought had a perfectly good game. I'd keep him the same. I didn't write a whole lot about him, so if you saw a lot of Will Stewart, let me know what you think. But really not a lot to say apart from pretty solid, some fairly decent carries, some good tackling, scrummaging. A standard game for him, I guess. Another guy who played the full game was James Ryan, and again, that's a bad sign for him for making a test side, even though he was never really on the cards to do it. He did his job, he made his tackles, he hit his rucks, he took his line-outs, a perfectly good game, but you can just see when Scott Cummins came on and you can compare them side by side how much better an athlete Cummins is than Ryan. So I think Ryan was pretty much bottom of the pile anyway, so he stays the same because he had a pretty good game, but I don't think he climbed any places there. Tyg Byrne was the captain again and had a pretty decent game, to be honest. There was a sloppy jumping across penalty in the line out on 23 minutes, which Frizzell nearly went over. He rips nicely on Corambetti on 26 minutes. Corambetti was a bit of a nightmare, losing the ball a couple of times. He wasn't a factor in the game at all, actually. Good jackal on 37 minutes. Ensured they were, 0 points against AUNZ at half-time. Had a decent game, got taken off fairly quickly in the second half, which is a decent sign for him. I do think he's a bit lower down the pecking order, but definitely has a chance, so I'd keep him the same. Then on to Henry Pollock. He's just so interesting, Henry Pollock. He nearly powers through Laumapi to score, but is held up for some reason. The AUNZ player scream in his face like it's some big achievement to be powered through by a 20-year-old, but then hold him up. I didn't like that one, to be honest. But anyway, nearly scores that one. The first half was actually fairly quiet for him, as in he just grafted away, made his tackles, no real issues, which I didn't mind. And in this game, we saw he could be a decent line-out jumper as well. Didn't quite go for him out wide, had a couple of good breaks, but fumbled a couple of times, a forward pass once, so it's not perfect, but still, I think it showed some things that we hadn't seen before, although we did see him get handed off again by Havili a bit too easily on 71 minutes, and we saw that later on or earlier on in this tour, but then we get that crazy finish at the end to show his amazing ability, his speed, just diving over Eklund and grounding between his hands. So up and down game, but definitely showed, I think, quite a lot of excitement there. And I'll put him up, actually, just to say, yes, he could be a real impact player. He can graft away. He's not perfect, but I think he is ready on balance. Jack Morgan had a perfectly good game. I love his low tackling, so good. He absolutely walloped Havili once, knocked the ball out there early on. Tireless working, nice line break right at the end. Probably wasn't his standout game of the tour. I think he stays the same. He's right in there. He's right up there to potentially start in the test. But, it is up in the air a bit, but a decent enough game for him. The same. I put Ben Earl up. I thought this was his best game of the tour. We know he's a good carrier, and he carried very well in this game, breaking tackles in tight as well, answering a few questions that some people had. Can he break tackles in tight? And he did that. Can he turn the ball over? Yes, he can. Got a nice jackal in there, some nice passing, and he's not the most aware guy. He is more of a runner. And being able to do a bit of everything will help his chances if he's going to maybe be on the bench in that test team. So on the up for him. Ben White gets his game and plays the whole game, which pretty much means he's not going to start the first test, but I think showed that he could be a test player. Solid skills generally. Good try breaking around the fringe on 10 minutes. That was nice opportunism. Yeah, the AUNZ side were pretty slow getting into shape, but still good heads-up play. And then some brilliant tackles at the end, just stopping any tries at all, any points at all from the opposition. Whack Stevenson into touch and then a good scrambled tackle. So definitely an up to say, yeah, I'm ready. Finn Smith is an interesting one. Again, it was an okay game for him. He got caught behind on a pull behind early on, ruck fairly easily off the ball. First high bomb was a bit long, so a little bit of a wobbly start and a wild first conversion attempt as well. But then showed some good support from Jones's break on 70 minutes to pressure the kicker. Some nice hands in there, some strong individual tackling. So I don't know, I'd say probably about the same. You could argue down. He certainly didn't scream, I have to start in a test. Then Duan van der Merwe, who scored a hat-trick, but I'm still going to mark him down because scoring isn't what the problem is, and a lot of the tries actually weren't that hard to finish, shall we say. It's the defensive stuff, it's the awareness, and we saw some big lapses once again. Even when there's no pressure on, he's fumbling the ball, he's making you feel like he's going to do something crazy, and he would absolutely be targeted by Australia if he started or even came on in the test match. So I think he's well down. Yes, he can run. He does present the ball first when he runs and is quite upright, which I don't like, but he can score tries, but the rest, not great. Kicking, we saw one of those, which was pretty rubbish. So yeah, van der Merwe, I think definitely down. Tuipulotu, up. I think he had a really good game, some power touches, some lovely hands, some good combination with Jones. Moved to 13 as well to show some versatility. So I think Tuipulotu definitely on the up there, as is Jones. I mean, they come as a pair. They played as a pair really nicely. Big 60-metre break off a loose ball. Rips the ball off Frizzell to prevent AUNZ scoring on 24 minutes. Great break on the drift as he assesses his options, pace, power. No, very good play for him at 13, so an up for him. And another big up for Hansen, who had his best game, won the aerial battle a lot, involved incredibly heavily in all the play, vitally in the attacking play, especially coming off his wing. On 18 minutes, some lovely quick stepping to get right up to the 5-metre line. Loops off his wing, like I said, to set up try, save for van der Merwe's hat-trick try. And on 74 minutes, yet another break as well. So an excellent game from Hansen. Definitely on the up. He could absolutely start in a test. And then the performance we needed from Hugo Keenan, it wasn't absolutely setting the world alight, but it was very solid. We need a fit 15 who's playing well, good awareness, good under the high ball, hoovering up problems, moving the ball wide nicely to put van der Merwe in, say, for one try there. Nice dummy and a half break to win a penalty. So a decent game for Keenan. Get him a bit more training. A week and a half before the test, that is great news. So on the up for him. Then the subs, didn't see a huge amount of some of them, so please let me know what you think. But Keller had a really good impact. Certainly on the up now. Cowan Dickey's going to be on concussion, return to play protocol. Clever opportunity, short line out, and he powers through both half-backs. That's really nice and has a good turnover on 54 minutes as well, so well done him. Let me know what you thought of Porter and Beelum. I didn't see enough to comment, but please let me know. Cummins, though, really looked like a huge unit coming on. His carrying is brilliant. batters over the line on 61 minutes. Brilliant stuff there. I'm not sure James Ryan, his partner, could have done that. So that contrast, I think, was pretty telling. He looks like a serious second row. So on the up for him. Van der Vlier came on, gave a lot of energy as well. So decent game for him, staying the same, I'd say. They didn't use Mitchell. Then we had Marcus Smith and Farrell coming on together. Marcus Smith at 10, and he kicked a touch fine, maybe not at goal. Didn't see a huge amount from Smith, so I think stay the same. Farrell came on and pretty much did everything perfectly, to be honest. He's not a runner, he's not that quick, we know that. He's a skilled player, and his skills were really spot on. Hits up hard and then pops off to White. That was good for the Cummings try. Next attack was a nice fizzing across the face pass to create the looping Hansen for a nice walk-in try. Then a nice prod in behind on 75 minutes to give Pollock a chance, and he got the score. So brilliant impact skills-wise from Farrell. So definitely up from him for his first involvement. So that's my take on all the players in this big 0-48 win against the AUNZ. Whether they were up, the same or down with their test chances, let me know what you think. And if you want to win a grand, do enter my starting lineup. Predict that starting 15 yourselves. Use the code on the drop down, RugbyAnalyst. That would be awesome to say I sent you. And let me know what you thought of those players in that game. Comments below. Do like, do subscribe. That would be amazing. And I'll catch you next time.